Hello and welcome to the Lions Review Show with me, Geraint Davies, and co-host Graham Forbes. In what's been an extraordinary Lions tour, often for the wrong reasons, the Springboks did what they needed to do. And Morné Steyn did, well, what he does, to seal the series 2-1. In this video, we take a look at some of the key moments and statistics from the third test to answer the question, what won the Lions Series 2021? Let's get into it.
So you can see we've got the penalties conceded per quarter here. Really interesting is quarter two and quarter three. Obviously, Lions were in the lead in quarter one, and then you can see they're starting to pile on the South Africans starting to pile on the pressure, and we can see the penalties starting to spike. But also look at that quarter three: 0 penalties from South Africa, 3 penalties from the Lions, and then obviously parity in quarter four. But that quarter three is where all the damage was really done. Also, really interesting is the penalty profile. So normally teams will, concede lots of penalties on defence, which we can see both teams do. But to concede 6 on attack is really something. It just shows how much the South Africans were targeting the breakdown and really targeting their attack. We saw guys getting isolated like Toje, and that's just what's really bumped this penalty profile up. So to concede 15 penalties in a game is really rough. 12 is pretty bad, but 15 you're not going to recover from that. You can't be competitive, especially when you're coughing up 6 on attack.
Absolutely, and those momentum swings, that then is evident within the video as well. So when the Lions were on top, which we'll see in some of these clips, their penalty profile was really low. When the Springboks were then on top, and particularly just at the half-time, the Lions found it really hard to gain territory. We then see the Springboks having some of their better passages of play with ball in hand, and also being able to chip away the 3-pointers, which of course puts them in the lead by the end of that quarter. So this clip, this is right towards the start of the game, in that first quarter, after Dan Biggar's gone off, and this is a really key theme that I'll pick up on. The impact that Finn Russell had, and the impact that some of those bigger ball carrying forwards had when they wanted to do some of the things they did early on in the tour, like offload, Conan offloading the tackle, adding wind to Ken Owens, and immediately they're over the gain line. And it's really good then to see Finn Russell and his ability to react. So you can see that Lucana Am has shot out of the line, and as we play this through, you then see that there's not a great deal of option to pass the ball. But this is what Finn Russell offers, his willingness to put the ball onto his boot, and just how quickly he can do that under pressure from Dialende. And then Josh Adams, desperate to get his hands on the ball, hardly touched it in the earlier stages of the tour, other than when he was scoring the tries, kind of struggled for as much possession as he'd like. Nice and early on, gets his ball, get the ball in his hands. But this is what the Springboks do. Vizza gets himself in there, takes the momentum away, and then lovely drive there from Pollard to put Josh Adams right back. But even then, Lions are in perfect shape. So out in the 15-metre line, I was interested in Van der Merwe. He was finding himself the back of rucks quite regular. And at this point, the Lions got perfect attack shape. 3 men off the ruck, and we see this as a common theme. Then 2 men off their next shape. Again, Finn Russell flat to the line, looking at balls inside and out. And all the time, the South African defence are finding this hard to react to. Forwards folding in the corner, trying to get backs running against them, get Courtney Laws running against them. I thought this was a really bright period in the Lions' attack, and enable them to get some go forwards. And naturally, when you put teams under pressure, they then get penalties away. And this was a soft penalty, so it's a high tackle. Really good field position for the Lions. Shut down, but able to come back and take the penalty, and that's 3 points for the Lions. Then just slightly later, so at this point in time, the Lions are starting to get to field position. Remember those penalty spikes, so they're getting in field position much because of those penalties. But they're in 3-3-2 setup, which is something that we see consistently from pretty much any team in elite rugby, and the Lions embrace this really nicely. So 3 forwards off 9, 2 forward centre field, but just notice the lateness of these balls. So Finn Russell can be right under pressure, carries into the line from it, gets the ball like in behind the Henshaw, and he's then that shooting defender that we're used to seeing from South Africa, outside shoot. Colby in this example, this play just puts him in that no man's land where he has to commit And then at that point, the Lions got some space. And I was actually really impressed at these kind of moments with Van der Merwe. I thought he made some really good ground from maybe positions where he didn't have any right to do so. So carries really nicely, gets right over the gain line. And again, Lions are in perfect field position. South Africa get penalised in a moment, much because of that, and the field position is really important. Again, 3 men off 9, got Ken Owens on the inside of it, and then we've got some loose runners centre field, and this just gives so much option for the Lions to play across. Notice that South African line, and Graham will pick up on some of that in a moment. That South African line now, it's got less line speed. We don't have the outside press at this point because they're now under pressure. They're having to retreat. And if there's one theme from the 80 minutes, the Lions didn't do enough. It was put them under so much pressure, put the Springboks under so much pressure that they couldn't get off the line. Finn Russell, again to the line, 3 runners, ball in behind, and now they're on the edge. Perfect attacking picture. Notice that space on the left-hand side. And at this point, it's a case of get the ball into Finn Russell's hands as quickly as possible, and then he gives a perfect opportunity for a 2-on-1. And of course, everybody's seen this one, seen the opportunity for Liam Williams to potentially pass there. And a lot of people said it's a certain try. For me, Reinach's coming across in behind. We've got Pollard coming across in behind. So for me, it's not a dead certain try, but it's certainly an extra 22 entry. And those 22 entries were in short supply. So penalty advantage, kick to touch, massive decision. Go for the line out at this point, score you potentially 15, 70 points to 3. I was really impressed with the way they organised them all. A lot of confidence to go for it. They felt the momentum. They knew the score was absolutely going to change the game. But look at this, Tom Curry breaking away, really obvious in front of the assistant referee, in front of the referee, and they were pretty sharp to pick that up. And that's opportunity gone. The outcome of that, South Africa get 2 decisions. They then end up with 3 points. From that 3 points, the South Africa scored, so now 10-6. Lions turn over. Curry, what he does best, gets over the ball, gets a turnover. Notice where it is on the field again. So 15-metre line, just outside the 22, 100% international kickers territory. Lions, bold, brave, feel that there's points out there. What are they going to do? Well, they decided to go for touch. A huge decision again. And there was no doubt in this one. They were really quick to it. Finn Russell didn't look at the post at any point. But this is what South Africa do again. The pressure they put on. So we're going to pause this right at the top. Just look at that lift. So the lifters have shifted across. We've got incredible athleticism in the line. Alan Winner's got that ball in his hands. And yet Etzebeth is able to get his hand in between and literally strips the ball from his grasp. And that's opportunity gone again. So 2 key decisions, really brave. And that puts them then into the 55th minute until they get their next quality attacking opportunity. And that's huge. So if you think with those penalties just after half-time, the Lions conceding 3, South Africa conceding none. This is the first time that they get a real good attacking opportunity. And again, they actually use it really well when they get it. So good quality line-out ball, as we've seen all tour. They're able to get some good go-forwards. I think what Aki brought in terms of his carries, he was abrasive and at least give us game line, decent ball from the ruck, and again we're able to get to the edge of the South African defence, so they're not pressing as hard as maybe you would expect in phase play. So we see the ball coming forwards, great opportunity. What happens? Unfortunately, miscommunication. Doesn't look what he's passing, ball goes loose, and this eventually leads to 2 phases later to a box kick. And this process from this point onwards completely changes the game. So this little fumble then leads to a try, which Graham has covered in wonderful detail in the video. Now I'm going to link that down just below, so please do check out that video. Graham's covered that try, which really did blow open the game. But the lead up to it, the Lions were in control, and that for me is my big takeaways from the game. Really small moments where potentially things could have been very, very different. for me, the first penalty opportunity to go for the posts right in front of the 10-meter line, for me, that was a take a 3-pointer. I can maybe forgive the other one, kind of closer to the touchline, 15-meter line, maybe feel you're going to get some points, but 13-3 would look very, very different to 10-3 at that point.
Yeah, I largely agree with that. I also think in the second half, opting to go for the corner with 10 minutes to go, 3 points behind, 10 minutes to go, knowing that 3 points gone begging, 5 minutes later to then go for the points again. Like, it's brave to go for the corner, but you take those points, South Africa kick back down to the Lions 22. The Lions can weather that storm, and they've got 10 minutes to work it. They've already got the draw at that stage. They can weather out the onslaught that South Africa are going to bring, because they're obviously going to want to try and win. But instead, they go for the corner, cough the ball up. 5 minutes later, they take the points. And with 3 minutes to go, they're back in their own half, under pressure, when, and give the penalty away. Whereas they could have been riding that out and had time. If they conceded the penalty, they'd have had time to kick back into the South African half. So it's just those little moments in games where it's very easy for us sitting on the sideline to say, do this and do this and do this. But actually, you have to wonder about the messaging that was going on at that stage to allow the guys to make that kind of decision when everything's so tight. That's when you want somebody coming on and saying, hold on, guys, calm down. Let's take those points. We've got 10 minutes to go. We can go again. They're going to kick to us. We'll get possession. We'll weather out that storm, and then we'll be down the end again. So, yeah, some really interesting decisions in there that maybe cost them the series, really, when it all comes down to it. Yeah,
I think it does come down to those tight decisions. I mean, the test series has come under a lot of stick, and a lot of people have had kind of generally negative things to say. But it was pretty enthralling, I thought. I thought getting that close, and the fact we could talk about small moments in games and small twists. I think that's what international rugby comes down to. When you're under that much pressure, is those small moments. And in the same vein, Lions score that first drive over where Tom Curry gets penalised, and the game probably opens up. The Lions probably play with a bit more flow and a bit more confidence. South Africa then have to chase the game and then have to open the game up. So small moments in the context of a game, I think that probably had an impact on the kind of affair that we saw. And the defence is, of course, a major theme. And I'd agree we're going to look at a couple of clips just to pick up on some of the key defensive themes.
Yep, so we've got two clips here. One is going to be looking at South African defence, and one is going to look at the Lions defence. First up, we're going to look at the Lions defence. This is quite early in the game. It's a really interesting setup. South Africa have been very, very visual with what they're going to do. They've brought Mapimpi open, and he's targeting Bigger. And what this is all about is stopping Bigger setting on the outside shoulder. We know Adams and Price are there on the back of the scrum. I'm a little bit confused as to why one of them doesn't come open to support. Price could have managed that blind side. It's about counting the numbers, really. And what we see this actually allows South Africa to do is get that outside line on Bigger. So De Allende is able to come in, take it, and then hit out. And it's a really good read by Aki and Henshaw, who aren't suckered in. But you can see what it's actually done is stop the Lions getting off the line, because they've had to hold with Bigger, because Bigger's going to sit down. He's going to get taken by De Allende. So that's completely taken the Lions' line speed away from them straight off the bat. And we've got a two-man hit in. And watch how quickly South Africa are folding around and how quickly the Lions are having to fold around. Again, it's just taking that line speed away from the Lions. We see Price has got around, and they're going to do like a two-man pincer in just to shut that down. But again, what that does is take Price out of the tackle line. So now we've got a huge gap on defence, and the Lions are going to have to really chase around hard. And what we see that does is now sends the defence very lateral. And that's where you don't want to be defending. You want to be defending coming forward. You don't want to be moving sideways, because what all this does is just open up the space for Pollard to come through. And that's a brilliant offload. But what he's done is he's taken two defenders out of the line. Van der Merwe is now isolated and turned. LaRue and Colby are past him. It's just unlucky, really, that LaRue doesn't see that outside pass, because that could have been a lot worse than it actually turns out to be. But again, it's just that that lateral movement is something you don't want to be seeing in your defence. And it's strange considering the Lions have been quite good on defence and coming forward and getting line speed. But again, we can see South Africa, nice quick ball. Lions are doing fine. Their formation is okay. They're mirroring up. They're not outnumbered. But what they're unable to do is the speed of that South African ball is just stopping them getting off the line. We can see Colby's in there at 9. So Colby and Reinhardt interchanged all through the game just to keep that ball speed up. And we can just see the speed this generates. It just sends the Lions lateral again. It's just somewhere they don't want to be. Again, we can see everybody's shoulders out, heads turned in, hips are facing the touchline. So there's a bunch of reasons why you don't want to be in that position. Obviously, you want to be coming forward because you're going to be in a dominant position. But you've lost connection with all your players. As soon as you turn your hips out, you can't see who's on your inside. You can't talk to that person on your inside because you're facing the wrong direction. So from that picture, Owens can see Laws. Laws can't see Owens, so they're completely disconnected. Laws can see Bigger, but Bigger can't see Laws, so he's completely disconnected. So at this stage, everybody's defending in isolation. They might have an idea of who's on their inside and what they might be doing, but nobody's 100% certain. Whereas if you're coming forward and you're all facing front, you're all connected, you're walking up together, you're in a much, much better place. And that is really quite wasteful by Am. There's a 3-on-1, really, 3-on-2. I know Bigger's covering across the inside, but that ball goes to Khaleesi and Mapimpi. You got to fancy them having a go at Adams there. So it's a missed chance for South Africa, and it's quite poor defence by the Lions, being able to be opened up like that off quick ball. Any thoughts, Grant?
The general theme is that when South Africa did choose to attack, they seemed to get gain line really quickly. We looked at the Lions and their attack. They rarely got that front foot go forward ball. When they did, it was hugely impactful. When South Africa attacked, they pretty much got it every time. I think Am in the centre field in particular, Dielende as well, set some really good field position, but far too easy. I thought the fold from the Lions defensively was a lot slower than the fold from the Springboks in attack. They were beaten to the races. Then, having said that, if you look at the flip side, they got the really good cover defence. They were shut down on the outside. There wasn't a try scored at that point, which you would see as a real positive. But the Springboks and their cutting edge, they almost seemed to go within themselves when they got that close. They were more than happy to see a penalty come and to have an opportunity for 3. Which has stood them in good stead, and it was won the Malayan series. So they're going to be pretty content maybe with it, but kind of going forward in the growth of their game, I think they're going to have more of a cutting edge when they get into those positions, because they get some real good front football. Is then to be able to make use of it in the following phases.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so this second clip is the same clip that Garant ran through a little bit earlier, but it's going to be from a South African point of view. So Lions got a free kick and Russell just hammers it straight downfield. So I found the whole process of free kicks in this series really, really strange. Nobody seemed to have any strategy. It was just put it up in the air and see what comes from it. I can understand it in your own half, but I found that quite strange in the opposition half. No strategy to take a scrum or no strategy to do something off it, just literally bomb it up. Curry here is what we would call a headhunter as we've been running. Look at him up there just trying to force something out of that kick. Nothing monumental here. Mapimpi takes it in and South Africa are going to put that ball back up. So nothing wasteful by South Africa there. They know they're going backwards. They don't want to be in their own half. They just want to be out of that half. So rather than wasting energy, trying to work their way back out, they just put the ball up and go into the other half. What's really interesting is Mapimpi here. So they know he's not there. So Williams will attack open now. It's really, really quite hard work by Mapimpi to get across there. Just shut down that space. Now, what's really interesting here is the Springboks don't waste any time running to the ruck and worrying about it. They're just setting their defence. They're just trusting the guys who are actually they're making the tackle to shut Laws down. They're not rushing in and getting panicked. They're just setting up for the next phase of defence. So we can see 3, 7 and 4 just all there, ready, connected. They'll step in if the ruck happens, or they'll step out if the ruck comes across, but they're already there. They're already setting up. So this is that nice out the back play we saw earlier. We can see South Africa are right up on them. This is why it's really nice by the Lions. It just completely pulls them in. Deolande and Etzebeth can't do anything. They have to hold their ground. And this also brings Am in. So it's quite bad decision making at this stage. You would hope you'd kind of want Deolande to swim off, which he does, but not kind of quick enough. And that means Am pulls in. And you can see that they're out. That's it. The defensive alignment's completely gone. And now we're going to start moving laterally, which is where you don't want to be, as we said earlier. It's a lovely pass by Russell. And now this I find quite disappointing. That's a 2 versus 1. Obviously, this move ends with the Adams and Williams missed 2 versus 1 on the other side. So just that nice quick lateral ball movement has opened up a 2v1 on this edge. And then we're going to see a 2v1 on the other edge. Quite disappointed that the Lions kind of let this go twice. Just that quick ball movement straight across. Now, we can see all that ball movement has done is actually bring all these South African defenders across. And it's really, really good work by Van der Merwe to get across, to step around them and get back to the middle of the field. But if Aki had just straightened and eaten up the space there, left Van der Merwe open, we could have been looking at the ball in the 22 or at least around Leroux. But all he's done there is actually pull all these people across to him, which is a little bit disappointing, really. But it's great work. Gets across to the middle of the field. Just going to run through the phases. Price is going to play the short side. That's nice. Maybe again another missed opportunity. Look at Henshaw. He's out there on the outside edge. It's not a try scoring opportunity, but it's an opportunity to get in behind the defensive line. So a good pass to Henshaw there might have opened it up a little bit more for them. But you know, those things happen. We shouldn't be too critical. Nice fast ball. South Africa are starting to move laterally now. They're not getting off the line. We can see they haven't had to move forward. They haven't really needed to move off where they are, but we can see that heads are starting to turn to the left. And again, we'll see this from Russell. That nice fast pass. He's got Lions right to the edge, as you pointed out earlier. And now South Africa are completely lateral. Everybody's running sideways, having to fold around. You would hope that ball would come a little bit quicker, but again, just beautiful vision from Russell. So this is a really interesting one. I think Pollard does everything that you want him to do here. So I don't know about you, Geraint, but when I've coached 2 versus 1 and specifically defending the 2 versus 1, I want to pressure the ball and try and force that ball carrier to do something, either make the pass or make a mistake. So I want my final defender to pressure that ball and hope that somebody can fold under. Which is exactly what Pollard does. Just gets in his space visually and makes a tackle. It's a fantastic tackle, brings him straight to ground. It's disappointing, obviously, from Williams' point of view, but from a defensive point of view, I think that's actually good defence by Pollard.
Yeah, it's very good defence. They're real subtle, but he actually sets on the outside shoulder of Liam Williams. So he steps across outside the 5 metre line. So he paints a picture that there's a weak shoulder, which is it's really clever. It's almost like reverse psychology. Steps on the outside of him, makes it look like he's drifting, but he's actually in perfect tackler position. With only 5 metres of cover as one defender, that's very, very achievable. And then as a ball carrier, you want to be getting in that situation to outside shoulder to get a block on. But he couldn't. So it was either drift across to get on the outside of it or think they made a crack inside. So I think it's really good defence. You'd still hope the pass is going to go earlier, but he's been manipulated into it. And then obviously Reinach and Leroux are coming around after. So it wasn't a clear-cut try scoring opportunity, but it was at very least a 15-metre ruck in the 22, which would have been a pretty positive position for the Lions.
With your support coming forward as well, so the the first possibility is obviously you're in behind the defensive line. Therefore, it's suddenly covered defence. Then they're no longer going to be in a defensive structure. So if you can get behind the line and generate quick ball, you're going to hope something's going to open up the other direction. We've seen, quick ball on either edge has caused some damage to the South African defence, turned them all lateral. It is a really, really good piece of defence by Pollard. I come back to that. It just closes down the space. Doesn't get sat down, which is really important. He only goes small when he needs to make that tackle. And like you said, Williams could maybe have taken the outside, but all he's going to do is drag Pollard across. That's why he doesn't want to take that outside edge at that point. As you said, he's showing him the inside, so it does dummy to try and make Pollard come to him. Pollard holds his ground. So, yeah, we can be really critical of Williams, but it is also a fantastic piece of defence by Pollard, who is probably one of the best defensive tens in the world. So yeah, it's disappointing, but understandable to a small degree.
Yes, indeed. And the rest, as they say, Graham, is history. So that's the end of the Lions tour. That's the end of our Lions review shows. We really hope you've enjoyed the show so far. We've certainly enjoyed being able to pick up the pieces from each of the test matches and some from the earlier matches. So do feel free to go on back through the playlist and have a look at see what's there. We will definitely be back with some future episodes looking at the future internationals. Six Nations is still to come, and of course we've got some wonderful stuff going on with the Rugby Championship at the moment, and our team of analysts known as Biodata. We are all very active on Twitter, so feel free, go at the Dead Ball area to follow Graham and myself at Davis GDD. Pop on there and you'll find a whole group of analysts who are really willing and pleased to share different statistical data, and indeed all of those guys have contributed to the things that we've been able to show you for the last few weeks. So a massive thank you to all the guys at Biodata who've given their time freely to offer us lots of statistics and lots of insight, so we can then share with you. So thank you, Graham, for your time, and we will look forward to seeing you again soon.